You're watching Red Hunt in this story. It went off the rails fast. I am a 17-year-old female and have a friend who got a new boyfriend a few months ago. Our friend group, which consists of 5 girls, was initially very happy for her because he is nice. However, it has become excessive. They cannot be apart for more than 5 minutes. He lives in a different city, yet he is frequently present. When we are at school, they FaceTime constantly. The moment school ends, he is already waiting at her house. Whenever our friend group hangs out, he is there as well. This has become quite annoying. We cannot be around her without him being there, or at least being mentioned. When he is present, she does not even look at us. It feels as though we are invisible, and it seems like she is no longer our friend. Last night, our group planned one of our usual late-night hangouts. We typically meet around 10 p.m. and walk around all night just talking. However, 3 hours in, it became clear that she and her boyfriend were walking ahead of us, talking only to each other and ignoring the rest of the group. The others expressed their annoyance and frustration about the situation. I was not enjoying myself at all. I asked the girls if they wanted to leave them behind because I honestly believed they would not even notice. One girl agreed, but the other 2 did not want to abandon her. So I left with the one who agreed. We said goodbye, and only then did my friend notice us for the first time that night. She asked where we were going. I was quite frustrated, so I simply told her that we would talk about it later and left. We went to eat ramen and continued our walk, and honestly, that night was more enjoyable than anything we have done together with her in the past month. The next day, she arrived at my house unannounced, and her boyfriend was with her. She demanded to know why we left. I explained everything, not just about last night, but everything that everyone had been too scared to say. I told her that she and her boyfriend are obsessed with each other. Ever since they got together, she does not seem to care about us. I explained that she treats us like we are only there for her convenience and like punching bags when she is upset. I expressed that she acts entitled and believes that because she has had a rough past, she deserves everything. I pointed out that she is rude and possessive and thinks we owe her something just because she brought us all together. I shared all my feelings. She was crying by the time I finished and she left. However, 5 minutes later, she reignited the argument in the group chat, which annoyed me even more. I reiterated the same points, but this time I provided specific examples of every issue I had mentioned. She left the group chat after that. Now the other girls are upset with me because some of the examples I provided involved actions she had taken against them, not just me. I'm unsure of what to think. Am I in the wrong? I dislike that we all complained behind her back, but no one had the courage to say anything directly to her. However, I feel bad that I made her cry. Bruh, that's wild. I totally get that feeling of missing the days when everything felt like such a big deal. But honestly, it seems like this whole mess could have been avoided with a bit better communication. Just sitting on resentment until someone blows up. Yeah, that's not the way to handle things. And dragging friends into it. Not cool either. They should get to decide if they want to speak up. It's honestly annoying when a friend changes after getting a boyfriend, and it's totally natural to feel overlooked. Still, it sounds like you let your emotions take over and ended up criticizing her a bit more than necessary. I mean, addressing the real situation directly would have been way more effective. Instead of venting about everything, a simple, "Hey, I miss our time together," would have worked so much better. In the end, this whole thing feels like a mix of frustration on both sides. Just remember, clear communication can really save a lot of heartache. Am I the jerk for choosing to live with my mother rather than my biological father? I apologize for the length and formatting errors. I am new to Reddit. I am an 18-year-old male and want to begin living exclusively with my mother. My parents' divorce occurred when I was about 7 years old. This was a result of infidelity on my father's part, as well as some unfair treatment towards my mother, although I do not know the full extent of it. Immediately after the divorce, my father treated my sister and me poorly. He would lash out in fits of anger over minor incidents, such as a spilled drink or playing too rough. This behavior escalated on 3 occasions where he grabbed me by the throat and insulted me. I have never been able to forgive him for this. This treatment continued for several years. He got engaged and then ended it for some reason. I have heard that it was another case of infidelity, but I do not know the details or how true it is. He remarried a few years later, and at that point I had 2 siblings on his side. His current wife has helped him manage his anger problems, and it was revealed earlier this year that he has had severe untreated thyroid issues and is now on medication. When he explained this to my younger sister and me, he used it to justify his past behavior. I also believe that some of his issues may stem from post-traumatic stress disorder, as he served in the military and was stationed in Iraq for about 2 years. I can see that he is trying to improve. He has been less temperamental and more supportive. However, he is refusing to help pay for college, despite having the financial means to do so, as he works at a nuclear plant. Overall, I find it very difficult to forgive him for the way he treated my sister and me when we were younger. I experienced the brunt of his anger while my sister shares a somewhat decent relationship with him, although it is a bit strained as she is currently going through puberty. I would greatly appreciate some insight. Am I being unfair for holding these feelings against him? He is unaware of how I feel. Every conversation we have tried to have in the past has turned into him guilt-tripping me about abandoning our family and shifting the blame onto me, claiming that he is only human and that I cannot blame him for his anger. This was a long time ago, but perhaps we could have a productive conversation about it. I am uncertain though. Thank you for reading. I am seeking different perspectives and advice from those willing to provide it. Oh, you're not the jerk, okay? It's totally valid to want to distance yourself from someone who caused you trauma. Your dad really needs to take responsibility for his actions instead of making excuses. Honestly, therapy could have really helped him, but it's not your job to fix him. Moving in with your mom. Yeah, that sounds like a good choice for your mental health. It's okay to feel heated about what happened, just don't let it consume you. You might need to work through some of those feelings with a professional. And if he tries to guilt-trip you, just remind him he can't demand anything from you after how he treated you. You deserve support, not blame. So focus on healing and building a better future for yourself. Remember, it's about your well-being now. Am I the jerk for not attending my brother's birthday party? I am a 20-year-old female, and I have a 17-year-old male brother who will turn 18 in a few months. I will be there on his actual birthday, but the family has planned to go to a fancy restaurant on the following Saturday to celebrate properly. This is where the issues start. For the entire weekend, including the birthday dinner, I will be at the Dukomi. The Dukomi is the biggest cosplay convention in Europe. I have already paid for everything, and when I bought the tickets, I talked to my family about it because there had been a similar issue in the past year. Back then, everyone seemed on board with the idea and approved of me buying tickets and booking hotels. The Dukomi is very important to me. I am studying law and working a part-time job, so I am always busy and stressed out. Cosplaying, which I pay for by myself, helps balance this stress and keeps my mental health, self-esteem, and social life in check. Since the Dukomi is the biggest convention, it is the most important date of the year for me. My brother became furious when I told him I could not attend the birthday dinner. He said that since I go to so many conventions, I should just cancel this one. He accused me of not caring about him at all and being extremely selfish. Because the 18th birthday is his special day, he is upset about me not showing up for the dinner. While I understand where he is coming from, I feel it is unfair that I have to cancel an event I planned 1 year ago just because my family made a dinner reservation 2 weeks ago. Additionally, I am unsure if I can describe the relationship between my brother and me as good. Since he is the only brother I have ever had, I do not know how many arguments and disagreements are considered normal. He is one of the reasons I desperately want to move out. My family is considering rescheduling the dinner, but I can tell they are upset. This birthday dinner is also meant to celebrate my parents' birthdays, which are 1 week prior to my brother's birthday. However, the main focus is still on my brother's 18th birthday. When I confronted my parents about specifically telling them about my plans and them approving them 1 year ago, they suddenly seem to have forgotten everything and are accusing me of lying. Reddit, am I the one at fault? You're definitely not the bad guy here. I mean, you told your family about your convention plans well in advance, and you even got their approval. But honestly, they just forgot, and now they want to blame you for it. It's not fair for them to expect you to ditch your plans just because they didn't remember. You made those plans a year ago, and they only decided 2 weeks ago to have a birthday dinner. Birthdays can be rescheduled, but you can't just move a convention, right? It sounds like they don't want to take responsibility for their mistake. So just enjoy your time at Dukomi, you totally earned it. Am I the jerk for having a bunch of formulas written on my calculator? I am a 21-year-old male who recently admitted myself into an engineering university to study computer science. Today was the final exam of our first semester. This was not my dream university, but it had what I was looking for. Our engineering physics course was not taught properly during classes. The instructors primarily relied on slide presentations, and the classes were quite dull. No one really understood what the professor was doing, and the pace felt very rushed. As a result, I struggled to grasp the content of the course. Today was our engineering physics exam, and I had been studying for it for the past week, day and night. The slides contained a significant amount of content, and very little of it was adequately covered in class, which hindered my preparation. The focus was mainly on memorizing formulas and recalling how to derive them. To help myself, I wrote a few formulas on the back of my calculator so that if I forgot them during the exam, I could refer to them. During the exam, I did not even need those formulas. However, when the invigilator came to sign my exam sheet, he noticed my calculator and took me to the board where he expelled me. It was just one formula. I explained to him that I had never attempted to cheat in an exam before. I also mentioned that being expelled would result in a failing grade in this course, which would significantly impact my cumulative grade point average that I had been working hard to maintain. Without a good cumulative grade point average, I would not be able to secure a scholarship for my master's degree. I even suggested that he could isolate me and allow me to continue the exam in the bathroom or under supervision, anything he preferred. But the invigilator remained unyielding. He simply stated, "You are finished." He then took me to the board of exam control, where they took my statement. I was not permitted to explain anything further. They proceeded to expel me. I do not understand how someone could be so heartless. It was just one formula. I would like to emphasize that I have always been one of the top students in my class, and I had a reputation for good academics. Now I feel that my reputation among my classmates and professors is tarnished. At this point, I am uncertain about what to do or what my next steps should be. If the invigilator had handled the situation more discreetly, I would have understood. However, he chose to shame me publicly, and now I feel like I cannot return to that university. I pleaded for understanding, but nothing seemed to work. So am I in the wrong here? Did I deserve this? What really happened? Honestly, this is kind of wild. Cheating is cheating, plain and simple. If you had an issue with the course, you should have spoken up before the exam, you know. Trying to justify your actions just makes it worse. I mean, the professors have heard every excuse in the book, so saying they're cold-hearted really doesn't help your case. You have to take responsibility for what you did instead of blaming others. It's not fair to expect sympathy when you broke the rules. If your GPA drops and you lose scholarship opportunities, that's on you. Just one formula or multiple, it doesn't change the fact that you had a straight-up unfair advantage. Universities take this seriously, and there are consequences. It's time to own up to your choices. Am I the jerk for ruining my sister-in-law's birthday by crying? I am a 43-year-old male, advanced paramedic in critical care. This means I am trained to treat very serious injuries and illnesses, and I also work in my service's Emergency Operations Center to monitor emergency calls and dispatch other advanced paramedics in critical care. Because it is a high-stress job and my shifts can easily overrun, I usually only commit to social events on my days off. Recently, my sister-in-law, who is 40 years old, booked a meal at a nice restaurant to celebrate her birthday. I initially told my partner, who is 44 years old, that I could not go because I had a 6:00 a.m. to 4:00 p.m. shift that day. However, he really wanted me to attend, so I arranged to have my shift changed from ambulance crew to Emergency Operations Center, thinking it would decrease the chance of being too late or too drained to go. The shift was challenging. My country's healthcare system is extremely overburdened, and I had to make a lot of difficult decisions prioritizing calls. Near the end of my shift, I had to handle a complex and distressing call that took almost 2 hours. I left work 90 minutes late and arrived at the restaurant about 20 minutes late, in uniform and very tired. When I arrived, my sister-in-law sarcastically remarked that it was nice of me to finally show up and to make such an effort with my clothes. I apologized, explaining that I had a call that overran. My partner asked about the call, and I expressed that I did not want to discuss it as it was upsetting and probably inappropriate for my sister-in-law's 8-year-old daughter to hear. My brother-in-law, who is 38 years old, said it was just a call and that I was not actually there. He suggested that if I was going to use it as an excuse to disrespect his wife, I should tell them what happened. I explained that it was not an excuse. I could not simply hang up emergency calls when I felt like it. My sister-in-law then said I should not have taken the call when I knew I had to leave. I defended myself, stating that I was the only advanced paramedic on duty, so I could not make a junior dispatcher do my job for me. My sister-in-law insisted that not everything was about me or how important my job is, especially not on her birthday. I felt so overwhelmed that I started crying, although I knew it was probably an overreaction. I was also really embarrassed, as I do not typically cry in front of others, so I went to the restroom to calm down. My partner came to check on me, and I told him that I just wanted to go home. He said it was fine and that he would explain to my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, so I left. When he got home later, he mentioned that my sister-in-law and brother-in-law were furious that I had ruined the meal by making it about myself. They felt I should have ensured I was on time and out of uniform, or at least been more understanding about why my sister-in-law was upset. I pointed out that my sister-in-law made it about me by being rude over a 20-minute delay when I was clearly exhausted. He responded that I could not expect others to manage my stress for me when I chose a high-stress job. I explained that I was managing my stress when I said I could not go, and he replied that he also has a stressful job but does not use it as an excuse to flake on his family. He wants me to apologize to my sister-in-law, and I am still hurt over the situation. However, I feel really bad for ruining the meal, and I worry that I did overreact and made everybody cater to my emotions. Am I the antagonist in this situation? Honestly, you acted correctly. I mean, it sounds like they really don't like you, and that's just super shady, right? You went out of your way to show up, and they still treated you like garbage. Your partner should have backed you up instead of letting them bully you. You don't need to apologize, they owe you for how they acted. Seriously, why do you even put up with that? It might be time to rethink your relationship if they can't stand up for you. You deserve better than this nonsense. You really don't need the stress they bring into your life. Just know you're worth so much more than how they treat you. Am I the jerk? My friend and I had a huge disagreement about the way they treated me. I, a 28-year-old female, feel that my friend, a 31-year-old male, has been seriously unreasonable in his behavior towards me. Just the other day, I was on a video call with him. I had mentioned a few hours earlier that I find it very rude when he ends our calls because someone else is calling him. He constantly complains that no one talks to him or visits him, yet he is always there for them. I am in a different country and I make an effort to text and call him regularly. I find it seriously rude that I told him, a few hours before our call, that I do not appreciate being in the middle of a conversation with him when he suddenly tells me that he needs to go because his friend is calling him. I was in need of comfort and reassurance regarding a topic we were discussing, and that is when she called him. He mentioned that she was alone for the night and that he had to go. Out of frustration, I texted him to go and entertain her. He responded with "wow, okay," and that is when the conversation ended. The next day, he acted as if everything was all right. I barely messaged him, and eventually, at the end of the day, he asked me what was wrong. I responded by saying, "I am still seriously upset with you because of what you did yesterday." He replied, "To be honest with you, I am not happy with you about the way you reacted. I do not appreciate jealousy. You want boundaries from me, well, I want that too. I love you completely with all my heart, and I am not going to stop talking to the people who matter to me in my life. However, I really do not appreciate your reaction. I am not apologizing for yesterday because I did not do anything wrong. You are welcome to express why you feel I did something wrong, and I will apologize for what I agree with, but your reaction was wrong in my opinion." I simply responded with "okay," and then he said good night. I ignored that message. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. So am I in the wrong or is he? This is something else. I mean, it sounds like there's some tension here, but honestly, it's a big deal to realize that it's not his responsibility to always be available. You mentioned needing comfort during a tough conversation, but if he gets an out-of-nowhere call, that's just part of life, right? It's pretty normal for friends to connect with others, and it's really not fair to expect him to drop everything for you. Plus, if he's been saying no one visits or talks to him, he has every right to take that call, and it doesn't have to be rude. If you're feeling jealous, that's definitely something to reflect on. If you're not romantically involved, it's a bit much to think he should focus solely on you. A mature conversation about boundaries could really help clear things up. And you know, if it's not working, sometimes it's just better to step back. Ultimately, compatibility matters, and if it's not there, it might be time to move on. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.